What I need to
Bucket
prove.
naked?
He know how you are. We always on the
Everything you
phone.
say is a lie.
So wait a minute, Mr. Lewis.
When you out of town, was you out of town?
Everybody has a
You was out of town.
past.
How did I know you was out of town? Did you tell me?
Let's get some order. Let's get some
All
order.
right, you not
Everybody
my
knows.
Facebook
It's on
friend.
social media.
Lester demands that a paternity test be done so that her ex can take responsibility for her 21-month-old son, Ryden. She stated that he has refused to carry out his fatherly duties because she refused to continue their sexual relationship. However, the ex in question, Mr. Lewis, denies it all. What exactly is the story here? Let's find out.
Me and Stanley planned my son.
We did not plan a baby.
Yes, we did.
No, we did not.
We've also never used a condom. We talked about having a baby numerous times, so this is all new to me on why he's not claiming my son.
So you're denying the baby?
No, I'm not denying a baby. It's just Jatoya Lester, she just always lying. She's known the street to be a hoe.
Oh, that turned wild too quickly. Even Judge Lauren had to call them both to order. However, moving on, Lewis explains how he and Lester came to have sexual knowledge of each other. It all started with seeing each other at the grocery store, and after some days, they moved to each other's beds. However, Lester seems to have a different story.
No condom.
He's
anything.
lying. He wrote me on Facebook in March of 2016. We didn't have sex until August because we planned to have my son. He asked me if I wanted to have his baby, and I replied back, yes, I do. He told me he loved me, and I told him I loved him as well. This is why we weren't having sex.
Oh, dear Lewis. Meanwhile, Lester claims that those statements about having a family came out of Lewis's mouth a couple of other times, too. In fact, she said that it was a major conversation that they would usually have. Still, Lewis is adamant that she is lying. Anyway, the trajectory shifts to the day Raiden was born. And boy, you would not believe what I'm about to show you.
Then she tells me it's my son, but tells another man it's his son. He actually at the hospital.
Actually, I told him he was.
Hold on, let him finish. He was at the hospital.
At the hospital, he cut the umbilical cord and he signed the birth certificate. So how am I the father?
This birth certificate, oh yeah, here it is. Certified record of birth for Raiden Jador. Father's name is another man's name.
I think we're beginning to see clearly why Lewis is skeptical of Raiden being his. How would you have another man's name on your baby's birth certificate and yet still claim that another man is his father? I don't know, man. Something is off. Now, when Lester was asked to explain herself because clearly there has to be something that no one is aware of, she says this.
I'm not gonna chase someone around. You knew you had this baby. Why do I have to chase you around? Why do I have to tell you this? If I've told you once, I even enlightened him on the days that I was scheduled to go see the doctor during my pregnancy. He knew the situation. As long as I did my part as a woman, that's all that matters.
So were you having sex with this other guy?
I had
She
sex
had
to
sex with
him
everybody.
2 weeks. I had sex to the other man 2 weeks prior to him getting the.
This just keeps getting wilder. But there are even more unbelievable things to come in this episode of Lewis and Lester's drama. Here is one. Now, as Lewis explains why he believes that Ryden couldn't possibly be his, he drops this bomb.
I've been shot multiple times to where the doctors have pumped so much medicine in my body, and they told me that I couldn't have kids at all.
And since that time, you haven't fathered any other children.
No.
And that's why you feel Raiden is not your biological child.
First of all, Yana, he doesn't even look like me.
Wow, there is a fiancé in the mix? In fact, he is in court. Although this guy, Kevin Brown, tells the court that he is only there to provide support to Lester, his babe, Lewis 100% believes that Kevin could be a potential father. However, the judge has questions for Kevin, and I honestly can't wait to hear what he has to say about all this. Let's take a look at the following clip.
Hi, Mr. Brown. Thank you for being here today. Mr. Lewis just testified that you and Ms. Lester have had a 10-year relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you've been sexually active with her for those 10 years?
Not at all, Your Honor.
Stop lying, man. Quit fronting.
When I got in the picture, Raiden was already, I'd say, 3 to 4 months.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm glad Kevin was at least civil, unlike those two, but the court session did not end there. Of course, Lewis had something to say about Kevin's testimony, claiming that he did not believe a word Lester's fiancé said. In such a moment, you would think that Lester would channel her words to back up her man, right? But this woman spewed unbelievable things I can't even say. Take a look at this.
I would have him in this loop
I could
where
never
I'm
be
having sex, I'm having sex with him and him, and they both know it. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. When I'm mad at him, I go to him. It's not a secret. It's not like I'm playing neither one, because they both know. At the beginning of this year, that's when we decided to be serious with this relationship.
How can she be serious when she just hit me 2 weeks ago trying to get me to come have sex with her?
Do you have proof?
Oh my. I have never seen a messier group. What's worse is that they aren't even speaking about the innocent baby Raiden, whose biological father we still don't know anything about. Instead, all these two are focused on is hurling nasty words at each other and exposing themselves. What's even sadder is that Lewis's mother, Yvonne Martin, is entirely in love with Raiden. Believing that he is her grandchild, she has developed a bond with him.
He's been a real joy to me. I've developed this bond with him. He's developed a bond with my family. He's been around all of my family, and they all just love him to death.
And you come and get him every weekend?
Every other week I come and get him. He got clothes and everything at my house.
And you have fallen in love, completely in love?
Totally in love with him.
So today's results really mean everything.
Yes.
Why are you crying, Miss Lester? What are you feeling in this moment?
His mother has been nothing but a lifesaver.
Well, it appears that everyone is a little calmer now after Lewis's mama gave her testimony. Mothers, bless their beautiful hearts. Well, all that is left is to reveal the DNA test report finally, so both parties can get the ball rolling from here on. Are you curious to know what the report says? Well then, let's find out.
Mr. Lewis, you are not the father.
Can I say this? I made a mistake, but I can only move forward from her, and I apologize to both of y'all. And we do appreciate everything y'all done for us.
Mr. Lewis, I see how much pain you're feeling now. What are you feeling, sir?
It's hard to even hear the results.
Late Mr. Abraham's family is in court to defend their son, who, before his tragic death, stated his doubts about being the father of the defendant's child, Kenia. However, the defendant, Miss Hooker, maintains that the baby is his and expresses her hurt at the doubt Abraham's family has about her daughter's paternity.
I'm just sad sometimes. I try to deal with it now. Like, I really don't care no more. That's how I feel. I don't care anymore. I don't care who failed. Nothing about my baby. I don't care. It just seemed like everybody else was looking upside my head like I'm an animal or something. Like, every time I'm sitting down doing something, they looking at me like I'm just outcast of the group. She looked like me, so why's the problem? That's why I just say I don't care about nothing. And none of that. I don't care.
Okay, so, Ms. Hooker, let me ask you, what was your relationship with Keyshawn? Were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
First, we was best friends.
From what Hooker said, it looks like she and Abraham were at least civil before his passing. So, where did all of this go wrong? Could it be that Abraham's family just don't like Hooker and are finding a fault when there isn't any? We'll see.
It's not Miss Baker who denies Kenaya. It's her family who makes my daughter feel some type of way. It's not Miss Baker. She was too fat to be his baby. She fat like them, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Never from Miss Baker. It's always her family who always have something to say about my grandbaby.
However, Miss Baker, Abraham's mom, has a different opinion about the situation. She claims that rumors about Hooker being pregnant started flying around when Abraham was on vacation. When Abraham got back, he allegedly also told his mom that Hooker had been with other men and, therefore, had doubts about the pregnancy being his.
But then when we finally found out for sure, he told me, he said he wasn't the only boy that had messed with Denaya.
Okay.
And he made me promise that we was gonna get a blood test, and things didn't go the way we thought they were gonna go, and now we're here.
Well, I'm so very sorry for your loss. Let me say that. I know this is difficult. May I ask what happened to Keyshawn?
He was shot.
Well, Hooker denied that allegation, more like laughed it off. And her mom, of course, backed her up, claiming that the late Abraham denied being Kenaya's father when he and Hooker got into an argument. She also reiterated that Abraham was loving to Hooker, and that all the bad energy was coming from his family. At this point, Abraham's sister decided to clear the air on that.
I know my mom said something about, she had a birthday dinner, and my mom did tell me, she said something about she think I didn't like her, or, you know, things like that. Maybe her perception of what other people view of her is just her perception, because she has to understand that sometimes it's hard for people to look, for me personally, to look at the baby, because it's just a reminder that my brother's not here. So it's not about her and her feelings. When she does come around, it is a sense of sadness for me.
Well, it is great that the misunderstanding has been cleared. There is one thing about people who enjoy seeking out trouble, the subtle snickering just to annoy the other party. That is precisely what Hooker has been doing since this court session started. And at this point, Miss Baker has had enough of Hooker's attitude and snide remarks.
Like I told him, you played grown, now it's time to be grown. Because if it's your baby, you not finna run and you not finna leave the whole bag on her.
Him or my family are not those kind of people to do that. what did I do to her?
Oh, you
I
can't
understand.
Don't go there, Miss Blanche. Don't go there, Miss Blanche. Don't go there, because you know the truth is
We're all here to talk, honey.
This is
I don't know what Hooker's problem is, but she does not need to be doing all of this. The matter at hand is way more serious. But as much as Baker and her daughter claim that they do not harbor any kind of ill feelings toward Hooker, there is something relating to Abraham's death that's upsetting Hooker. Now, what exactly is that? Let's find out.
My daughter really feels some type of way. It's not that she feels some type of way. It's like she more hurt behind the obituary. And Miss Carolyn has explained to her about the obituary, how the obituary went. But in her heart, she feel like, and that's why she has so much animosity towards Toy.
I just feel like this. When this come back and it's the baby, I don't want her. I don't want no sorries from nobody. Keep your sorries. I don't want no sorries.
I'm not giving you a sorry.
Okay, I'm not asking you to.
Shut up.
That's it right there, the obituary note. As much as she says she doesn't care, we all know she does. I mean, look at her getting all swollen up because of an obituary.
I did get left out. So did my grandmother, and so did one of my sisters.
Okay.
It wasn't just the baby.
Okay.
We weren't together. Nobody was thinking right at that time. We weren't with none of us together. She went ahead to try to call herself helping me, and she was going ahead of me to finish it up, and all three of these people got left out, so it wasn't just Kanaya.
However, this begs the question, did Abraham's family intentionally leave Kanaya out of the obituary? There you have it. However, just to prove that she does not hold any grudge against Hooker and her daughter, Miss Baker promises to single-handedly make amendments to Abraham's obituary if it turns out that Kania is indeed her biological granddaughter. What an honorable thing to do. Well, now that all of that has been cleared, it is time for the DNA results.
The percentage of relatedness between Miss Baker, Mr. Abraham, and Kenaya Abraham is 0%.
And this is why right here.
Miss Baker, are you all right? Do you need to sit down? Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Dear God. So after all her antics, Kanaya really isn't the late Abraham's daughter. Now, any average person would take this moment to apologize and close the chapter. Not Hooker. Instead, she goes into full beast mode for nothing. Just take a look at this dirty behavior.
They weren't gonna tell me sorry, so I'm not telling them nothing.
Do you need to sit down, ma'am?
Nobody did anything to you, honey.
I don't care.
Nobody
do nothing to me, but I don't like you.
That's
I don't like you.
It's
I don't like you. Okay, I don't care.
It's
Nothing.
okay.
Stop talking to me then.
Nobody did anything
Stop
to
talking
you.
Miss Hooker,
Okay.
just stop.
Stop it!
So,
You owe my
let's
mom an
go.
apology, though. That's who you owe one.
No, excuse me.
Because you know you slept with somebody else.
Miss
And this is
Hooker.
what-
Miss Hooker. No.
This man, Mr. Morgan, sued his ex-girlfriend, Gentry Lee, to prove that he was her daughter's father. It was a very bold move and a rare case, I must say. Even at this point, Gentry Lee still denies that Morgan is her baby's father. What exactly is Gentry Lee's reason for this?
Mr. Morgan, why do you believe she's denying you're the father?
I simply believe that she's denying this because we're no longer in a relationship and we're not going to be.
So you think she's just saying you're not the child's father because she's not with you anymore?
Yes, because I moved on.
Is that true, Miss Gentry Lee?
No, Your Honor.
Explain. This is very upsetting to you. Explain to the court. What are you feeling?
Exactly. And that is what we're going to find out by the end of this court session. Meanwhile, Morgan explains how he and Gentry Lee first met, and especially how they both ended up getting sexually intimate. Let's see what Morgan has to say about this, shall we?
Okay, well, I'm in artist management for a living. When the time I met Miss Gentry Lee, she was with an artist that I was considering signing. I called to speak with him and to tell him, you know, come over, have a drink, let's sit down and discuss some details and see what we can do. Well, Miss Gentry Lee had answered the telephone and she said at that time that he was no longer with her.
No.
And she said she come over. One thing led to another. We ended up being intimate that night.
They both have different testimonies about their sexual encounter. However, Gentry Lee was not yet done narrating her story. She added that after she moved in with Morgan, they got into an argument, which led to him making attempts at putting her out severally. But it gets even wilder. Watch this.
He was bringing other women in, like my family member, and I caught him with my family member.
He was sleeping with your family member?
He was sleeping with my family member, Your Honor.
So sorry.
I completely told him I was done, so he called me back September the 19th, Your Honor. So I stayed with him September the 19th. We did a quickie. Then I left him that day and went with another Guyana.
Oh, now there is another man in the picture. Gentry Lee claims that it was only after she got with this other man that she started having pregnancy symptoms, cementing her belief that Morgan isn't the baby daddy. So, she didn't tell Morgan anything about the pregnancy. But how did he find out?
She was at my house. She needed some hygiene products. I was going shopping for my own things. At that time, I figured she had been there for a month. Like, okay, so when is your period, basically? Are you gonna need some pads? She's like, yeah. She put them in my top shelf that's next to my bathroom, and they remained there. They never got open. She never used one. And after the time, I'm like, okay, why aren't these open? Why aren't you using them? I haven't had my period. Why haven't you had your period? I don't know.
I don't know about you, but I don't see how all of this is leading somewhere. Their stories do not match. There have been accusations of infidelity, and there seems to be another man in the picture. All of this is just everywhere. And the age gap between these two? God, no. All of it is just wrong.
Mr. Morgan, how old are you?
37.
Mr. Morgan, I can do the math on the baby and see she was of age. But wow, this is a very young girl. And Miss Gentry Lee, at your age, you talking about you were so sad you weren't pregnant, but you having sex with Mr. Morgan and another guy.
Can you imagine that? Now you guys can see what I mean when I say everything is just so wrong. However, something isn't matching up. Hear me out. If Gentry Lee truly believes that Morgan is not her baby daddy, why is she providing Morgan with all the information about her pregnancy, including her baby's ultrasound? I mean, make it make sense.
Do you know why you're entertaining this if you really don't believe he's your child's father?
I don't.
The only time I'm not the father is when I give an indication that this will not be a relationship. Then it's somebody else's baby then.
No.
Miss Gentry,
I really don't care if you're in a relationship with me. Because you put me through so much hell, I don't know why.
So she's pregnant now. Are you invited to go to any appointments? You get an ultrasound picture. Do you go to appointments?
Now,
You say the only time it's not my baby is when I...
And now, Morgan's fiancée, Sharika Strawn, tells the court some unbelievable things about Gentry Lee. She claimed that Gentry Lee would always text her fiancé, Morgan, complaining about how hungry she was. So, out of her benevolence, Sharika decided to invite Gentry Lee over for a nice home-cooked meal and some other nice gestures, according to her.
You stayed at my house for 4 days.
Actually,
I
and
don't like
he
it, but I deal
invited
with
me
you,
over.
and
She did not invite me over
invited. He
because
just told
I
me.
went
Per her
over his
request.
cousin's house.
Per her request.
I went over his cousin's house.
You came to my house because I wanted you to be there. We live together. Anyway, I bought stuff for the baby.
Well, if she bought stuff, where is the stuff?
At my house. I told you over and over to come get it, come look at it.
Well, no one still understands why Gentry Lee claims that Morgan is not her daughter's father. She has not given one clear reason, and this bothers Judge Lauren, who asked her to provide proof, a reason, anything to make the court understand her standpoint. So, Gentry Lee provides a timeline, which, according to her, is proof that Morgan is not her baby daddy. Let's see what this proof is.
Actually, the dude that been around my
You have proof of the timeline.
Yes,
You're saying the
the time.
timeline doesn't match
Yes.
up. Can I see that, Ron? You're saying the reason why you don't believe he's your child's father is because when you do the math as to when Amaya was born, conceived, and when you
Yes,
were with
Your
him,
Honor.
it doesn't match up.
Yes.
So you were intimate with
the
Mr.
other-
Morgan,
Yes.
where it's in red.
Wow. Either Gentry Lee didn't know that, or she intentionally wanted to keep Morgan away from his child if, eventually, she turned out to be his. Now, all of this is starting to get clearer. However, the only way everyone can know for sure where they stand is once the DNA test result is revealed. If you are ready to find out the real paternity, then take a look at this clip.
You are the father.
I don't get her. We've been through hell and back.
Born. I never got to hold her. I never got to.
She moved away when she was 8 months pregnant
I
on
offered you to
us.
stay at my house. You could have stayed. You
With
could've-
me. With me, you say I don't like you so much, but I was there for you. I bought your baby clothes. I fed you. Like you're
But
so
whatever this
like,
agreement we have with us,
Seeing this, Gentry Lee has some serious beef with Morgan that no one knows about. That, or the fact that she is so young, makes her actions just as irrational for someone her age. I mean, Judge Lauren just had to spell it out in hopes that she would understand the stakes on the ground.
This little baby.
Yeah.
This innocent little baby. Really? Your reaction right now is very immature, but you are. And that's why you really don't have any business standing here, because you can't even process this. You so young. You can't. I want to be mad at you, but I can't. You could be my daughter. daughter.
The couple had a lot on the line, and if they could not resolve their paternity issue, their 13-year relationship would go down the drain. Ms. Dupree was in court with the hopes of proving to the defendant that he was the father of her twins. The problem with their situation was that Ms. Dupree cheated. She opened her case like this.
Ms. Dupree, you're here because you say if you cannot resolve your paternity dispute, your 13-year relationship with the defendant is on the brink of ending. You're here to prove that he is the father of your 4-month-old twins, Sky and Skylar, and you're hoping to save your family.
We've been together for 13 years off and on from high school, and we had practically planned this whole thing. And he stayed with me for like 8 months out of my apartment.
They've been together since high school? They must have really loved each other. I wonder where it all went wrong. Ms. Dupree told the judge that she was most definitely certain that the defendant, Mr. Flagg, was the father of her twins.
Oh, he's your children's father because of what? The amount of time you spent together?
Yes. Also, I had 2 miscarriages through this. We planned it, and all of a sudden when I get pregnant, you want to say that you are not the father.
Mr. Flagg, so you've been with this woman since high school?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so when you find out she's pregnant...
When I first found out, Your Honor, I was happy.
You were. Take your time. This is what this is about. We're trying to get to the truth.
Even before she gave birth to the twins, Mr. Flagg had doubts about the pregnancy. Now, what did you do, Ms. Dupree? You sure must have done something. Anyway, when Judge Luwarin asked him why he had doubts, this was the reason he gave.
For yours.
Because I had doubts, Your Honor. I had found out the real truth when...
So tell me what you heard 2 days ago. What did you hear exactly?
Well, Your Honor, she had told me the truth about her ex-boyfriend.
She did?
Yes.
What did she say?
She had told me she was sleeping with him.
She was?
Yeah. And I was mad. I had to calm myself down.
Wow, she slept with her ex during the window of conception. Now I know why their relationship is hanging on a thread. She broke his heart, that's for sure. Mr. Flagg went on to explain to the judge how his doubts started in the first place.
The whole house smelled like sex, Your Honor.
Oh.
And so when I go in towards the bedroom, her hair messed up.
I want to hear this story.
Looking around the house, everything's straight. But when I got to the bedroom, like on the side of the bed, it's some shoes.
Some shoes?
Yeah. So I'm looking at the shoes and looking at my size.
Let's just say the man she cheated with left in a hurry so he would not be caught. Now, after he saw the random shoes in his house, he decided to confront Ms. Dupree about the shoes. And trust me, her reply was even worse than what you expected. Take a look.
I had asked her, whose shoes are they? She like, it don't matter, just leave it alone. I'm like, what you mean leave it alone?
It doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Did you say it didn't matter, Ms. Dupree?
Yes,
when
Your
he
Honor.
saw these shoes and said, whose
Yes,
shoes?
Your Honor.
So he did see the shoes?
Yes, he did.
They were big shoes?
They was big shoes.
And they were by the side of the bed?
Yes.
And they weren't his?
They weren't his, Your Honor. They was my friend, the boyfriend, because they both came over.
Well, Ms. Dupree had better come out with the truth because the explanation she gave does not sound convincing at all. Here's something that's going to shock you. Trying to figure out who she had cheated with, Mr. Flagg asked to smell Ms. Dupree's body, and this happened next.
I'm going to say that I just understood the testimony and not have you repeat that. So you asked to smell her body because you felt like the house smelled like sexual intercourse had taken place imminently.
Yeah.
Did she allow you to do that?
No.
Okay.
Enough with the lies already, Ms. Dupree. Everyone in the courtroom can smell the lies from a mile away. Anyway, Judge Lauren dug deeper in trying to change the topic, told the judge that she never slept with her ex. She only told Mr. Flagg that she did because she was mad at him for also cheating.
All the times he cheated and came in, and when around my birthday, when I broke up with him and I asked him to work on our family, 2 days later he had sex with the girl and some girl, and he had the smell all on his face and he smelled like sex. So I just told him I had sex with my ex.
There's too many smells in this case.
Now, that was a good one. There was a lot of smelling going on in their relationship. Judge Lauren went on to ask Mr. Flagg if he had been taking care of the twins. Of course, he said yes, but Ms. Dupree said that was a fat-ass lie.
Are you Mr. Flagg?
Yes, I will step up because...
You will or you have been?
Yes, I have. I
No,
have
he
been
has
stepping
not.
up though.
Your Honor, no, he have not. He have not did really nothing for my kids. The only thing he bought was the car seats. I did the whole baby shower. When he came with 1 case of diapers, a blanket for each baby, some socks for each baby, the face rags, and maybe 2-3 outfits.
Well, there's only one way this can end, and that is to have the DNA results revealed. Wasting no further time, the judge pulled out the envelope and gave the verdict.
Mr. Flagg, you are their father. So Congratulations, Mr. Flag. You happy?
Yes, I'm very happy. And I probably want to do something else too.
What would you like to do?
I love you.
Thank you. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I love you.
After getting caught in paternity court once, Ms. Bodine is in paternity court again, this time to find out if her 2 children actually belong to Mr. Benning. How many times is Mr. Benning going to cry on live TV in a courtroom? Let's find out. It all began like this.
You know, left me hurt. I always wanted a daughter, and I promised I was going to take care of her and treat her like my mother took care of me.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
I've always stuck by with that.
So having a daughter has been so important to you.
So important. I waited for this.
And tell me about that relationship.
You know, we are so close. She's goofy, you know, she loves daddy. She's a daddy's baby. We love to play.
There's no use denying it at this point. Regardless of this, she almost swears that he is the father of her baby girl, Robin. Mr. Benning, on the other hand, explains that he was so excited to hear that Ms. Bodine was pregnant. The wildest thing happened so very quickly.
It happened during labor, Your Honor. I was in the hospital sitting across from Kayla. She was pushing this baby out, and I received a text from a guy telling me to leave the hospital because that's his baby and he needs to be there. I am in labor, like literally in the hospital, and I received a text telling me that the child that I'm waiting to come isn't mine.
And so you get the text and you know who it's from.
Yes.
Oh my, what an experience. Funny enough, Ms. Bodine got the other potential father tested and brought the results to the paternity court today. It reads that there is a 0% probability of paternity between Robin and the other man. Moving on, the following conversation ensued.
Quite a few. First off, the DNA test doesn't mean anything considering the fact that she's cheated on me with more than one person.
Oh.
There could be other guys out there. That's just one, you know?
Now, that's the plot twist.
As well as, Your Honor, anytime that something is wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father.
Well, oh my word. Both Mr. Benning and Ms. Bodine agree that Robin looks so much like Mr. Benning's late mother, and she may just be the woman brought back to life for him. Oh, who's gonna tell them? Judge Lake's paternity court would be the judge of that.
Change her diaper and look at her and play with her, and she's calling me daddy, and there's something in the back of my head saying she might not be. You know, there's a text message on my phone saying she's not yours. There's people calling me on my phone saying I'm her dad. You know, it's constant, it's just constant, and...
Well, this is why we're here to prove.
Oh, please, Miss Bodine, we both know the results of what we're here to prove, and that you and your actions are going to crush this man all over again. She says she is 100% certain that he is the father, but for some reason, Mr. Benning still does not trust it. What a hurt man.
Are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It doesn't matter, I'm still gonna be there. I'm the only one she calls daddy.
What an awfully painful moment. Ms. Bodine stands there shocked, not knowing what to do with herself at that moment. What a woman. On to the next, which is baby Jermaine Jr. Here are the doubts Mr. Benning has about none other than Ms. Bodine herself. Amazing woman, really.
To the court.
Yes, it was, Your Honor.
There was a text to you, Mr. Benning, that says, I'm filing papers for a DNA test on Jermaine. That'll cause paternity doubt.
Indeed.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, Your Honor, sure does. Every day.
You sent that text, Miss Bodine?
In addition to all of this, Mr. Benning was in the hospital for Jermaine Jr.'s birth. He has his first name and everything. How does a person send that sort of text message after letting him sit through all of that, sign his birth certificate, and take his first and last name? The results are out, and here is the verdict.
You are not the father.
What the?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr.
I got cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do, and...
Miss Bodine, do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor.
In this situation, Mr. Walls claimed to have been away for a while, and when he got back, he saw the defendant, Ms. Walker, having some funny business with another man. He claimed that she was a serial cheater, and he was certain he was not the father of the child. This was how he opened his case.
Mr. Walls, you say that after spending a short time away from Ms. Walker, you caught her with someone else's hands in her cookie jar.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you say Ms. Walker is a serial cheater, and there is no way you are her child.
Well, I worked across the street from where
where Dominique stayed. And when Dominique would walk out of her house going down the street, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, trying to catch her attention.
It looks like the long wait to get her number was worth it after all. In no time, things got very romantic between them. They started spending time together and going on dates.
We started going out there, you know, spending time by the water. I felt it was romantic, you know. And so,
Ms. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor.
He seemed like he was a gentleman courting you. You went out with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was a good relationship at first?
It was good in the beginning until I found out I was pregnant. And when I found out I was pregnant, I told him, but he talked about he wanted a DNA test.
I knew we were about to get to the bad part, but was he really a family member, Ms. Walker? Well, we are going to find out. The funny thing about this couple was that even though they had a very lovely time together, they never got into an actual relationship.
It's turned into a real relationship is the point. Okay, that took too long. So it was not a relationship. So you all were having sex.
Yeah.
Without protection, but not in a relationship. So when she told you she was pregnant and it was your child, you had doubt.
Yeah.
Your Honor, when I told him I was pregnant, and he had said, well, I need to take a DNA test because he said he didn't trust me.
But she admitted to cheating, though.
Did she just admit to cheating? Wow. If I were in his shoes, I would probably have doubts about the baby as well. As if that was not enough, Mr. Walls went on to talk about a situation where he actually caught Ms. Walker in another man's car. This was how he began the story.
So I said, wait a minute. I goes all the way back around the corner, come back, slow down. I look like, no, that don't look like Dominique in that car. Like, that ain't Miss Walker, like, no. So I said, forget it, I drive on around again. I'm on around
your third lap?
Yeah, I'm on my third lap now. I'm doing a Hollywood stop now, like, yeah, that's her. That's her in the car. And then I confronted her about that.
Aha! You've been caught, Ms. Walker. If indeed she was pregnant and the baby belonged to Mr. Wills, she had no right to do anything with another guy. Moving on, Mr. Wills was not done listening to the scenarios he witnessed, which made him doubt the baby.
I call her phone, she'll say she at home. I go to her house, knock on the door. Her mama come downstairs and say, Dominique not here. Dominique went over her god sister's house. I just talked to Dominique. She said she was home. This happens a couple of times. Oh my gosh, I wish your mama was here.
Because we're gonna start from the time he said he was living with his baby mama. He was telling me that he gonna promise to leave her so he can be with me and my child.
Ah, that explains why they couldn't get into a proper relationship. They can't even make a complete sentence without yelling at each other. Again, Mr. Wills went on to explain that with his other 5 kids, he had pregnancy symptoms. But with Ms. Walker's child, he never felt any such symptoms.
Looking up a little bit, I'm feeling a little nauseous. And with her pregnancy, I had none of that.
How many other kids do you have?
I got 5 other kids.
Okay. You had pregnancy symptoms with all 5?
Yeah, pretty much.
You did?
Degrees. It could be very minimal to something that dad doesn't even notice, like love handles. And he figures he's getting a little bigger because mom's eating more. To nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain. So it does certainly exist.
Wow. It looks like he wasn't lying after all. The funny feeling is actually a real thing. Could that mean the baby does not belong to him? Well, the DNA results are about to reveal just that. And we will know if Ms. Walker has been lying all this while.
Mr. Walls, you are not her father. Ms. Walker, I gave you an opportunity. At least 5.
Well, I apologize. I'm sorry.
3 years. Do you know who her father is?
Yeah.
Was it the guy in the car?
No.
This is one messy situation you will never forget. Trust me. Ms. Bargy found herself in the middle of 2 men, her husband and her ex-boyfriend. The crazy thing about this situation was that both men believed they were the father of Ms. Bargy's baby, and she had no idea who the father was. She started her case by saying this.
Ms. Bargy, you and I spoke briefly in my chambers.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit you cheated on your husband, and now you are caught in a paternity triangle, with both men believing they fathered your 2-month-old daughter, McKenna.
Yes, Your Honor.
At least she's not denying making a mistake, and the beautiful part is that she wants to find a way out. Judge Lauren, understanding the intensity of the situation, proceeds to ask her husband what type of bond he had built with the child. As you would expect, he loved the baby beyond words could explain.
So, Mr. Bargy,
yes,
you've fallen in love with McKenna.
Yes.
Tell me about the relationship you have with her.
I could be at work for 10 to 12 hours a day. I take 5 minutes out of my time, busy or not at work, video call, sit here like that right there. I wake her up when I get home.
Aren't they just cute in that video? Anyway, Mr. Lawson, the ex-boyfriend, wasn't ready to give up his claim of being the father of the child, even after seeing Ms. Bargie's husband and the baby bond so well. He decided to tell the judge the reason why he felt he was the father of the child and started like this.
I believe I am because I was around. She was with me when she got pregnant. I was there for the whole pregnancy. I was there when McKenna was born.
Ms. Bargie, can you explain to the court how we got here?
I was having issues with my husband when I came back. We had been together for about a month and we ended up having intimate.
Seems like the break from her marriage took a wild turn and now she's paying the consequences. Now trust me, that's not all. When she found out she was pregnant, she told Mr. Lawson before her husband. Why? Because they were living together at the time. Oh, you heard right.
The day that I found out was the end of April. It was April the 27th. The whole month of April I was getting sick and I took a pregnancy test and then it came back that I was pregnant.
Who did you tell first?
I told my mother first and me and Calvin had been living together.
Even Judge Lauren was disappointed to hear that. But there was more disappointment coming her way. Ms. Bargie never mentioned the pregnancy to her husband. She claimed she didn't have the courage to confront him about it. But here's how he found out.
The time when you actually got up the courage to tell your husband that you were pregnant and McKenna could be his child.
I did not tell my husband, period. He had a mutual friend that was on my Facebook and they had actually sent him a picture of me posting an ultrasound.
Wow, so she was sleeping with Mr. Lawson and her husband at the same time? That explains why they both feel they could be possible fathers of the baby. But the truth bombs keep getting worse. Ms. Bargie went on to tell the judge that she found out that her husband was also sleeping with his ex.
One time, and that was due to the fact that he had spoken to one of my friends and they had talked about actually being together. It was, my friend was one of his exes. His ex actually messaged me and was showing me messages that him and her were sleeping together when me and him.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Oh, I'm siding with Judge Lauren. That's one big mess. Unlike Ms. Bargie's husband, Mr. Lawson had no relationship with the child in question. He claimed that when he tried to be in the child's life several times, Ms. Bargie was evasive because she wanted her husband to be the father of the child.
Right now, I don't have a relationship because when Miss Bargie left, we have talked and tried to set up times for me to see her, but there is a lack of information.
You feel like she's being evasive.
Your Honor, I have given him plenty opportunities to see her. I've called him 3 and 4 days in advance and said, look.
Could Mr. Lawson be lying about trying to see her child? Who knows? Ms. Bargie made one thing clear to the judge. She claimed that if Mr. Lawson ended up being the father, she wouldn't want him anywhere near her child.
If Mr. Lawson is McKenna's biological father, have you thought about where you go from here?
If Mr. Lawson is her father, I do not want him to be a part of her life, period. Like, I want rights terminated because my daughter deserves so much better. My husband has been there and took care of her since all this has happened. He has been an amazing father.
She must really dislike Mr. Lawson. Well, it's time we reveal the DNA results and bring their paternity drama to an end. Let's see if Ms. Bargie's prayers are going to be answered.
The biological father is Mr. Lawson. You are McKenna's biological father, Mr. Lawson.
That's okay. I'm still gonna raise her.
Do you want to be in her life?
Yes, Your Honor.
You do. The fact that he wants to be a part of her life, you guys got to figure this out.
In this case, the plaintiff, Mr. Calhoun, claimed that his girlfriend, Ms. Prout, tricked him into believing he was the father of her child. After finding evidence that she had been sleeping with other men, he claimed that the DNA results would show that he was not the father. He opened his case like this.
Mr. Calhoun, you say the defendant tried to trick you into believing you are her daughter Amaya's biological father. But after uncovering evidence that she slept with other men, you are positive the DNA will prove you are not. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Prout, you claim that you are positive that Mr. Calhoun is Amaya's father. Only reason he is denying.
It seems that Mr. Calhoun was not ready to have a romantic relationship with the defendant. Even after he made it clear he did not want a relationship, they continued to kick it in bed. And after some time, Ms. Prout found out she was pregnant.
You still continued to have sex with him after he made it clear he didn't want to be in a relationship?
Correct, Your Honor, I did.
And at some point you found out you pregnant?
Yes, ma'am.
Me and a family member of his, we went to the store. I bought a pregnancy test, went back to his house, took the test. It was positive. The lines were fainted. The next day, I told him and showed him the test, but we were both in disbelief.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Wow. Mr. Calhoun really didn't want anything serious with Ms. Prout. Blocking her on all social media is just very extreme. Mr. Calhoun told the judge that he believed she had taken fertility pills to get pregnant just because she wanted to be with him, but Ms. Prout claimed it was a lie by saying,
She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
That's a bunch of bull.
Oh, did you say that, Ms. Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills. Once I found out I was pregnant, let me tell you how crazy. This is the crazy part. I did not believe I was pregnant. I went to about 4 or 5 different emergency rooms.
I mean, they were not using protection while kicking it in bed, so why doesn't she believe she is pregnant? Now, Ms. Prout had her calendar, showing the window of conception, which placed Mr. Calhoun as the father of the baby. When asked if he agreed with the dates, he said this.
When you look at that window of conception, Mr. Calhoun, do you have any issue with the date?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't believe you were intimate on
there's
July
no issue with the dates, but I'm saying I feel like I have reason to believe that she was intimate with other dudes besides me during those dates.
Really? How do you have reason to believe that?
I have reason to believe that after a conversation that me and Miss Prout had on the phone, she told me.
Now, it all makes sense. Mr. Calhoun was not the only man she was sleeping with at the time. Funny enough, Ms. Prout did not deny messing with another man. She claimed that she did sleep with someone else, but cut ties with the person before the window of conception.
I was having sex with someone, but this was way before these 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks prior I had stopped messing with somebody else because I knew I was going to run into him at the parties. At the end of the day, he really denied my baby because he on child support. Period. Points. That's it.
It has no.
We've been back and forth. One minute I'm the daddy, I'm happy, whoop-de-whoop blam. Then the next minute I'm not the daddy when you get hit with them papers.
Now why would she lie about the hospital not being able to perform a DNA test? What could she possibly be hiding? Mr. Calhoun told the judge that even though he had signed the birth certificate, he still had doubts about the paternity of the child. These were some of his doubts.
My doubts come from, I'm walking to the store. I get to the store, I run into 2 neighborhood partners that I knew growing up, and they're like, you got a baby by Miss Prout? And I'm like, yeah, supposedly. She says her little girl is mine. And they tell me that's crazy because she said she had a baby by me before. And when I asked her to produce the paperwork and produce the pregnancy test, it was...
Oh boy, that has to sting. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes after hearing something like that. Now here's the crazy thing. He was not just talking. He had evidence to prove that what he was saying was true.
From Mr. Calhoun, why you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout, you a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
Yeah,
I
But now you standing here saying you the father. I don't know why you denying it.
After saying and posting that conversation on Facebook, I don't believe a word coming out of her mouth. Now, there was a witness in the courtroom, and she happened to be Ms. Prout's godsister. She claimed she had more details about how things really went down in their relationship.
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant because of her demeanor, her mood.
What do you mean?
Her mood change. She was very moody. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course. A week later, she took a pregnancy test.
Wow. Now, that has to be one hell of a revelation. Anyway, there is only one way to find out the truth, and that is to reveal the DNA test. Without wasting any time, the judge revealed the results, and this was her verdict.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy.
Why are you so upset, Miss Prout?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like, this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen and we can go to court and figure it out like that.
Mr. Brown says he found a sex tape of his wife with another man, and now he's saying that he is 100% certain he isn't the father of her 11-month-old child, Amira. Ms. McKinney, who is also pregnant, is screaming that that's a lie and that Mr. Brown must step up as he is definitely Amira's dad. She began her case like this.
He's denying the fact that that's his daughter, and it's not about looks, it's about DNA. And I'm here today to prove and show that he is the father of Amira Brown.
And I can see that you are really hurting right now. I can see the tears. What are you feeling, Miss McKinney? Oh my goodness, she's just gorgeous. What are you feeling?
I just hope that he's the father of Amira Brown.
Well, we'll see about that. Mr. Brown, on the other hand, is confident that the DNA test results will be negative. He also thinks that the man who starred in that video with his wife may be the child's father.
Because when she was born, she did not look like me. And I waited, I gave it time to see how she would look, and more every day that I look and take pictures with Amira, she has his face, and it bothers me a lot.
You feel Amira looks like the man you saw on the sex tape with your wife?
Yes, I do. More and more every day, I see Amira's face and his face, and it bothers me a lot.
Wait, did Mr. Brown just accuse his wife of incest? That's wild. But how did he even get this tape that caused all of this? And how did Ms. McKinney and this man act out such a tape?
One day, the girls, they like snatching her phone, so they grabbed her phone. Before they could even get into the video, I grabbed it, and it pressed play, and I seen the beginning of the video, and I didn't see what I liked, so I just disclosed it. I didn't watch the whole video.
The video came up, or you went looking to see what was in her phone?
They were scrolling through her pictures, whatever, and before they could even get to it, I grabbed the phone.
Oh, because you knew it was something inappropriate.
Yeah, it didn't look right. It didn't look right. It looked like a video, so.
Sheesh, 10 times? Gosh, things are starting to look insane. And the man who's on the tape is in court today, and he doesn't mince words at all. It's straight to the point with this guy.
Well, when I first met Miss McKinley, we was talking on the dating site, and the day I met her, Mr. Brown was present, but they wasn't together. But I seen them face to face.
Oh, the day you met her in person?
Yes.
He was there?
Yes.
So how did the sexual relationship start with Miss McKinney?
Me and Miss McKinney been having sex the whole 2016.
You say you're in a year-long affair.
I met Miss McKinley.
I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like just 10 times. The real number is probably double that, at the very least. Anyway, Ms. McKinney got pregnant, and here is what she told everyone.
And she's ready to give birth.
So who did she say the father was?
She didn't tell me
I
nothing.
said it was complicated.
I believe it was complicated because, like I said,
I was back and forth with him and him.
That sex
back
tape
and forth.
was April 9th, and Amira was born April 9th.
Did that math add up?
No.
No, that math didn't add up at all. So Ms. McKinney was acting out a tape on the day she gave birth. What? Really? At 9 months pregnant? That's wild. The funny thing is that before Ms. McKinney gave birth, Mr. Brown already knew that something fishy was going on. Here is how he puts it.
And then when you found out, did you say, oh, I'm so excited, or did you say, is this my child?
First, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited. And then when we went to the hospital back in September, they would say she was 11 weeks pregnant. And then when they told her the due date.
It was 12 weeks.
Yeah, 12 weeks. And then they told her the due date, whatever, when we went back again, they was like, April 23rd. And I'm like, April 23rd? Okay, cool.
Okay, Mr. Spidey's senses. You felt something you wanted right and decided to do something about it. Mr. Brown was present at the birth and made sure not to sign for the birth certificate, even though he was legally married to Ms. McKinney. Once he saw the baby, he thought something was wrong.
I said, hey, when I was born, I was pale. But wait, look at her lip. Why does her lip look so fat? That's not my lip. My lip does not look like that. Oh, no, it does not. So from that time in, I put it in my head, I'm like, wait, okay, if she's not mine, then she gotta be Mr. Jonathan's child, because she started looking more and more like him. And then you had people inboxing her saying, oh, that's not your husband's baby.
Your Honor.
It doesn't look like
Your Honor.
him.
Wow, you can clearly see why Mr. Brown feels so strongly that this child isn't his. He has done a full scientific study on this stuff. He knows it in his heart, and there's nothing anyone can do to change his mind. And now, to blow your mind. Guess what?
And not only that, she's pregnant with my child now, so it's like
You said now you're having another baby?
Yes.
I may be the father, right?
No, that's my child.
But let me ask you, could you be the father?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So do you believe you are Amira's father?
No, I do not.
When's the last time you were intimate with Miss McKinney?
2017 of April.
That's a whole year before Amira was born.
Right.
Oh, so it's scientifically improbable that this other fellow is the father. Does that mean that Mr. Brown could end up being the father after everything? That would be crazy. Let's see what the DNA test has to say about this.
Mr. Fowler, you are not the father.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
He's not the father, Mr. Brown.
Okay.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. Miss McKinney, are you okay?
Two guys, Mr. Henry and Mr. Medley, and a lady, Ms. Johnson, claimed that the defendant, Mr. Medley Sr., was their biological father, and for some reason he refused to be in their lives. It was one of the most ridiculous cases to ever appear in paternity court. This was how the entire case began in the courtroom.
3 different adults with 2 different mothers brought the same defendant to court today in an effort to prove paternity. Mr. Heron and Mr. Medley, you are here to prove to Mr. Medley Sr. that you are indeed his son.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
say results of today's DNA test will force him to stop denying you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, the judge began by asking the 2 guys how their lives have been without a father figure. The first guy, Mr. Heron, took the floor and told the judge that it affected him in ways he could not imagine. He wanted to know why Mr. Medley Sr. decided to be absent from his life.
It affected me in life. Want to know why he wasn't in my life? Why would you give me your full name as a junior? Why would you sign my birth certificate if you deny me as your child? It hurts me like all get out.
So, Mr. Medley Sr., you submitted a whole list of doubts.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
When I met her when I was playing in a band, which was about maybe 3 blocks from where she lives.
That explains why he doesn't believe the kids are his. Mr. Medley Sr. told the judge that when he found out Mr. Heron's mother was pregnant, so he decided to marry her even though he had doubts about the pregnancy.
Do the right thing, make her an honorable woman.
So, basically, you married her even though you had doubts.
Yes,
And then you also claim you heard from another band member.
yes. I went to audition for a band.
Yes.
The trumpet player was acting kind of strange, like he didn't want me, and I knew everything went well. And as I was leaving, packing the kids up, he came to me and he said,
Wow, that's proof enough to make him doubt the paternity even more. The boys went on to tell the judge that Mr. Medley Sr.'s mother always treated them like they were her grandkids. Even with all the denying that Mr. Medley Sr. was doing, she told them that he was their father.
No matter what your daddy say, you guys are always going to be my grandkid. And it hurts me so much to hear this man sit here in this courtroom and lie to you like that. Look at me. Do I not look like you? Honestly. Spitting image, 100%. And you gonna sit up here and say that I'm not your son?
I don't know.
How you not know, man? You looking at yourself right here.
Not the way I see.
One thing is for sure, though, these kids are very upset with Mr. Medley Sr. They felt betrayed that he did not want to be in their lives. Seeing that the kids were hurt, the judge decided to reveal the DNA test results regarding the 2 boys. This was her verdict.
You are the father. To the results for Victor Medley Jr. You are the father. So now you know.
Yes, I do.
Do you have anything to say to your sons?
Well, I'm glad that the truth has come out, and I'm glad that they are.
Well, Mr. Medley Sr. can't deny the boys any longer. They are both his kids. Moving on, Judge Lauren turned to the lady, Ms. Johnson, who also felt Mr. Medley Sr. was her father, and asked her about her childhood without a father. This was her response.
I grew up in and out of foster care, but I had asked my mom, one day I was looking in my mirror when I was a teenager and I didn't look like her anymore. And I'm like, I don't know who I'm looking at. The stranger that I'm looking at in the mirror, I need to know. So I was like, Mom, this is enough. I just need to know what's the name of my dad. So she told me his name was Victor Medley, but you are not to contact him while you are in my house.
That has to be heartbreaking for Ms. Johnson. Hearing that shocking revelation from her mom, Ms. Johnson decided to go on a hunt to find out who Mr. Medley Sr. was. She found him on Facebook and decided to send him a message, informing him of what her mother told her.
You know, I had a conversation with my mom, and my mom told me that you are my dad. He said, oh, really? At first I told him my mom's name, and I asked him, did he know her? He said yes. When I told him that he was my dad, he was like, oh, really? Oh, my daughter, can you please send me your number and I'll give you a call? He was happy. So this was the first time I've ever heard about him denying me, because to me, he never denied me.
Could Mr. Medley Sr. be trying to change his story? Because it sure looks like he has a new story to tell. After Ms. Johnson was done giving her statement, Mr. Medley Sr. told the judge that she was the one who requested to get a DNA test done, and he had never denied the fact that she was his daughter.
Get to the point.
Child support Child support took the check. I didn't have the money, so I didn't have it. And I'm not rich. And then she told me that she had been lied to before. Everybody lies. Take her off, lose her number, take her off my Facebook, take the kids off Facebook.
That's not how I remember it.
That's how I remember.
No,
How do you remember
it,
ma'am?
I'm gonna tell you how it went. It went like this. I asked you.
Ms. Johnson is pissed. All right. Anyway, after going back and forth with each other, Judge Lauren decided it was time to reveal the results and determine if Ms. Johnson was really Mr. Medley Sr.'s daughter.
Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father.
Okay.
Mr. Medley, what are you feeling now?
I don't know. I thought she was my daughter.
From the expression on his face, you could tell he was furious as hell. Mr. Streety claimed that he was furious when he found out that his ex-girlfriend had cheated on him with a man who worked at a haunted house. He was in court with the hopes of getting his name removed from the child's birth certificate.
Mr. Streety, you say you got spooked when you found out that your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Johnson, cheated with a man she worked with at a haunted house. You have dragged the defendant into court today to prove that you are not her 13-month-old son, Zeandre's father, so you can remove your name from the birth certificate.
Mr. Streety claims he was trying to do the right thing, and that is why he signed the certificate. Apparently, he signed the birth certificate for her other children, knowing fully that he was not the father. When the judge asked him why he did, he claimed he was foolish.
Show you that.
Wait, I want to be clear. You signed the birth certificate for a child you knew wasn't yours.
Yes, Your Honor. I know how foolish that.
And now Zeandre, you question if he's yours, and you signed his birth certificate too.
Yes, ma'am.
So how many children do you have between the two of you?
One.
You just have one?
Allegedly.
The other one you're on the birth certificate, but you're not the biological father, but you have 2 other children besides that.
Moving on, the judge then asked him why he had doubts about the child he had with the defendant, Ms. Johnson. He told the judge he had an exhibit that would explain why he had doubt. When he approached the exhibit, this was the explanation he gave.
Moved in together in or around April. This is her parents' house. This is one of their properties, okay? All of her bills automatically my responsibilities.
No, they weren't.
Hold
He
your
got
thoughts.
his name.
Hold your thoughts. Thank you. Here we go. We're moving through here. After a midst of all of that going on, I'm getting tired of being accused of things that I'm not doing, so I move out.
Wow! Now that is some serious evidence right there. Judge Lauren then asked her if she could recall the events Mr. Streety was talking about. Guess what? She could! She claimed she recalled every single thing, but it all happened in a different month.
Do you remember those instances?
I do.
Do you remember the man you were driving with?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were with another man?
I was, but all that took place in October. I didn't meet the guy until October.
No. She tells me that, Your Honor, and as far as she's concerned, she's gonna tell me that.
And
all
so,
right?
Mr. Streety, I just want to make sure. Now, how do you know it's August? You just remember that was the date?
No.
Ms. Johnson has a lot of explaining to do, that's for sure. In trying to defend herself, Ms. Johnson claimed that she was not getting enough attention from Mr. Streety. She told the judge that he was always going to see his ex and her child, and that upset her.
Are you done with your
Yes,
exhibit,
ma'am.
sir? Yes, please step back to the podium.
He made beats, or he would help record songs with other people without a fee.
Oh, I thought you meant he was freelancing with other women.
I mean, his ex, of course. Like, he would leave my house just to see his ex and their child. And they would spend time together. They
Your
had
Honor.
pictures all on
Your Honor.
Facebook.
Well, you have to agree with Judge Lauren on that one. After yapping about, the judge then asked Ms. Johnson to tell her side of the story. She started by saying that Mr. Streety had the dates mixed up, and that's why he thinks he is not the father of her child.
So I'll say in July, that's when I got pregnant. And this right here, all this happened in October.
So you saying he got the dates all mixed up?
He does.
And you're saying that when he saw you with the other man driving around, you were already pregnant?
Yes, I was. I was already pregnant.
Were you sleeping with the other man?
I met this guy in October at the haunted house.
One thing about these two is that they love to argue. Jeez. Now, when Ms. Johnson found out she was pregnant, she claimed and told Mr. Streety. Trying to explain how she told him, Mr. Streety jumped in and told the judge how everything really happened.
We just laying there, and she's like, yo, as a matter of fact, I asked her, have you been with somebody else? She's always been honest. She said yes. I said, well, have y'all been sleeping together? Yeah. Oh, so it just only happened one time? No, it's been 2 or 3 times. I'm like, where'd y'all sleep together?
October.
Where'd y'all sleep together at? Right here is where?
Nowhere
the
to be
same
found.
bed that me and her been laying in.
After October.
Are you kidding me?
And when I told him I cheated, that's when he decided he wanted to come back around and...
Looks like Ms. Johnson is not happy about the fact that Mr. Streety is no longer willing to step up for her and her kids. Even though she got emotional about the whole situation, Mr. Streety was still firm on the fact that he didn't believe he was the father of the child.
Point, all the times that I feel like that you might have felt like that before, you might have been doing that before too. You don't say stuff like that to a person, and when they get insecure about what you said, you get mad at them because they insecure.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Why did you sign Zeandre's birth certificate?
Your Honor, I was already there for the other 3. I ain't taking nothing from Ms. Johnson, but I already know what she dealing with.
Let's just say that cheating was not the only reason he had doubts. The moment we've been waiting for is here, and it's time we find out who the biological father of the child really is. Here are the results.
Mr. Streety, you are the father.
I told you.
How do you feel now, Mr. Streety, now that you know for certain?
That just shows right there that she did have somewhat of some kind of respect for me. You know what I'm saying? She never been unsure. I always been unsure.
I believe you doubt it. You know, some men come in here, I feel like they ain't got doubt, they just don't want the responsibility.
Senior citizens were involved in a steamy summer romance. 57-year-old Mr. Henderson and 56-year-old Ms. Brown were together for a summer some years back. Now Ms. Brown is in paternity court with her 32-year-old son, Roddell. They are here to prove that this hot romance resulted in Roddell being conceived. Mr. Henderson denies it fervently, saying the most ridiculous things in the process. He calls Ms. Brown just another lady on his team. Here is their case.
Can you explain, how did your son and you end up here 32 years after his birth?
Yes, Your Honor. I was living in Jersey City when I met Mr. Henderson at a bar. Mr. Henderson was a DJ. Mr. Henderson came to the bar and told me that I had some sexy eyes, some beautiful eyes. By him being a charming, very good looking, Your Honor.
Mr. Henderson has never met Roddell, is not interested in doing so, and he never will be. At this point, Ms. Brown basically dragged him out to paternity court. He denies every single thing she says so strongly, this woman would begin to doubt any of these things happened if she were not there to experience it herself. What a man, really.
Calling each other, going to each other's house, Your Honor.
While you were pregnant?
Yes.
Not true.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Mr. Henderson was the only man that I was seeing in the state of New Jersey at the time. I had no chance of being with no other man but Mr. Henderson.
Your Honor, that's not true.
That's true.
Me and Miss Brown,
is true.
We were never dating. We were never dating.
He went on to explain that she was simply one of the many that were on his team. A very interesting way to put it, too. They never dated, and he was never interested in dating her. He added that he did not want any committed relationship at that point in his life, and he definitely did not need any children, seeing that he had a lot of them already.
I didn't want any more children than I had children, and during the time when she said she got pregnant, I wasn't even dating her, and I always used protection when I was with her, because I was sleeping with multiple partners, so why would I do that?
All right, so you say you got a team.
Well, I had a team, yes.
So
she was just one member of the team, and she got a cut slip. She knew about it. She knew I had a lot of females.
What you're saying is...
Oh, so she did know what she was getting herself into. Isn't that just something? Couple of the year, these two. If you think you've heard the most ridiculous part of this case, you haven't seen anything yet. Here is how Mr. Dream Man Henderson found out that Ms. Brown was pregnant.
Or did you even know?
Well, I actually found out because one day I was outside the club. I was walking down the street and I seen her sister. She said to me, "You know Linda's pregnant." I said, "If so, it ain't my baby," because I had cut her off the team a long time ago.
Why he said
so I don't know how she gonna say it's my baby. But then she told me
that he wanted them to take care of his.
Judge Lake really does get her fair share of ridiculousness. These two lost contact for 32 years, came back to paternity court and are getting down to scream at one another like they're back in time 32 years ago. After they both came to a conclusion that he indeed saw Roddell as a baby and cut his hair too, Mr. Henderson began to insist once again that he was using protection, and Roddell is not his biological son.
Your Honor, one thing I have to say is, like, my grandmother raised me. I mean, like, I made different, you know what I'm saying, choices in my life that led to me joining gangs because I ain't have no father in my life. And it hurt. You know what I'm saying? My mom, she was there, but she wasn't in the house like she was supposed to. So if I would have had a father in my life teaching me, like, to do things, I wouldn't have made them choices in my life. Like, I could have been in the NBA.
Finally, the spotlight moves from the couple of the year to Roddell. He adds that his potential father has the same interests as he does, and they love the same things. Mr. Henderson used to DJ and dance as a teenager. Roddell is currently very music inclined and goes to various states to do his music and dance gigs. Well, is this a sign? Only the paternity results can truly tell.
So in this picture, you're about the same age that Mr. Brown is now?
Right.
All right.
Do y'all see this, Emma? Come on now, good looking son like this.
He's a good-looking young man. I just never saw him before.
Yeah, but you saw him at the age of 2.
Well, if you'd have stayed where you were supposed to stay, we would know.
I wasn't
and
supposed
he would have been in my life.
City.
I blame her, Your Honor, also
Your Honor, I could
for
not
taking
live
the
in
child
Jersey.
down
All right.
south.
Now, Mr. Henderson seems more receptive to the thought of Raydell being his child. He says he reached out to him on the phone and they had conversations about everything. He went on to accuse Mrs. Henderson of lying to Raydell, claiming that she said he didn't want anything to do with him. This man literally said all of that by himself at paternity court, though. He literally did. What a guy. Results are out, and here is the verdict.
Mr. Henderson, you are not his father.
Oh, no!
I told you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Lord. Oh, no. I'm not going to feel, I don't feel no remorse. I'm sorry that I thought you were the father because y'all look so much alike.
I understand.
Miss Brown.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you know
what I went through?
Mr. Lacey abandoned his son for years up until he turned 25, while Ms. Toure is determined to prove that Mr. Lacey is Trevon's biological father. Accusing him of avoiding his responsibilities and leaving her son without a father figure, Mr. Lacey strongly denies paternity. He adamantly refuses to accept a child he believes is not his own. Tension is high in Judge Lake's court.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I could not
Your
have
Honor, I got
signed
proof today that he did sign the birth certificate and his name is on my son's
I'd like
birth
to see that proof. Jerome?
Your Honor, I could not have signed the birth certificate. I was not, I was incarcerated at the time Trayvon was born.
Thank you. So this birth certificate, child's name, Trayvon Lacey's father's name, Larry Lacey.
How ridiculous is that? So basically, she put his name on the birth certificate without asking him first. If he wasn't there to sign it when Trevon was born, why would his name be on it? And here's where it gets juicy. He only found out about this 3 months after Trevon was born. This whole paternity mess, it went down around the same time in Trevon's life.
Well, I received a court paper to go to the state of Ohio child support court, and me and Miss Toure, we did both appear at the child support court. When I walked into the court, the judge, he looked at me and said, "That's your son, you know, you have nothing to say."
Now, it seems like he is being forced to take care of the boy. Ms. Toure denies all of it, but there's no proof to back her up. Then Judge Lake brings up child support payments from the court, and things start to get interesting.
We went forth with the child support case.
You don't remember any of that happening?
No, ma'am.
Yes,
that's not the way I remembered it happening, Your Honor.
But he's on the birth certificate.
He is.
So he is the legal father.
Yes.
As far
And
as
his
she
court
signed.
papers say he's paying child support.
Yes,
You paying
and
child support?
I have proof that, Your Honor.
Damn, what a man. Despite all the accusations flying her way from Mr. Lacey, Ms. Toure still has something significant to address.
But Your Honor, I want to put this to bed. I'm tired of reliving this. You know, okay, I made a mistake. It wasn't even a mistake. I was just living on my own. He just keep throwing his man in my face over and making my son feel bad. I'm ready to put it to bed. That's what I want to do and get on with our life.
Right.
Your Honor, my intention is not to make Trayvon feel bad.
The man insists that his goal isn't to hurt Ms. Toure or Trevon, but just for one thing, which is to uncover the truth. Now, we get to look into their relationship history and how exactly these two crossed paths. Things are about to get even more wild.
I was on the city bus and she was on the city bus, and she had her oldest son to walk up to me and give me a piece of paper with a phone number on it, okay? So when I looked at the phone number, I wondered who is this? So I turn around and I'm watching where the, child goes.
Oh, Ms. Toure sure is an intentional woman. So, they met as two people that knew what they wanted and they decided to stick to that. Ms. Toure wasn't finished. She kept going.
Your Honor, yes, I do remember meeting Mr. Lacey, and partially that is true. The thing is, I found him very attractive and very charming. Yes, I did, and I did approach him because I liked what I saw. So the chemistry, once we started talking, the chemistry was good.
Ah, yes. They moved in together and things went south from there. He left her, they broke up, she met other people. If you think this is a ridiculous lot to take in, you haven't seen anything yet. Look, it honestly sounds better to hear it all from Ms. Toure.
At this time, my first time I had sex with Mr. Lacey, he got me pregnant, but I didn't know it at the time. So Mr. Lacey, talking about he left and went out of town, he just disappeared, Your Honor. He disappeared. I don't know where he went, but later on down the road, as time revealed, he was living a double life. It was another woman in the neighborhood that he had left me for. So at that time, I thought, it was over.
That right there is a wild turn of events. Like she was not explaining efficiently enough before, she went deeper into the whole thing.
So wait a minute, you all in this relationship, everything's going fine, then you come back home and Mr. Lacey is gone?
No, Mr. Lacey had sex with me and took off.
Oh, so after he had sex, he
left with me and took off. I didn't see him for a long time after that.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
how
I
me and
thought
this
you
other
said he
guy
moved
got
in.
together.
I thought you said he
Your Honor.
moved in.
Yes, he did. That was after the fact. He came back and caught the guy at my house.
Again, what a guy. This then leads to the next thing on the agenda. How then did Mr. Lacey harbor so much doubt towards Trevon if all evidence points to him? With everything going on, it seems like he's the only man in the life of Khadijah Toure. Here's the next thing on the agenda.
When I came back into town, I knock on the door, and the door opened. Well, I see my pajamas. My pajamas. Miss Toure has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
Your pajamas.
My pajamas. I didn't argue, I didn't fuss, I didn't create no drama, I didn't fight, I didn't do anything. I turned around, I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go.
Who would have thought? This is one funny story. About 2-3 weeks after Mr. Lacey left, Ms. Toure moved on, and she moved on properly. To be fair, it did seem like Mr. Lacey had already moved on as well till he showed up.
But he did have
you
his
had
own
on the blue
clothes
pajama
on.
top.
And I had my clothes on.
No, you did
Okay,
not.
so pajamas or no pajamas? Were you intimate with this guy? You said it's your new friend.
I was intimate, yes. But I just moved in town. I got my new apartment. I was feeling all grown in my apartment, doing grown stuff in my grown apartment.
You sure were. You
Yes,
sure
I
were.
That explains it. All of Mr. Lacey's doubts from the very beginning. As it would turn out, he knew something we didn't know about this very grown woman in her grown apartment. Additionally, Ms. Toure did not find out about the pregnancy soon after the pajamas encounter.
You've managed to pay that $37,000 down to almost $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you getting it done.
And the only thing that Miss Torre have told me is this, because I asked her about the other gentleman. And she told me that she went to the other gentleman and she spoke to that gentleman, and the gentleman told her, no, Trayvon is not his child because he do not look like any of his other children. And Miss Torre accepted that.
It just keeps getting better and better. Usually DNA tests are done, but as it turns out, a simple look at the baby in question will do.
Now, at that time, he told me that I was like 12 to 14 weeks already into my pregnancy.
Really?
And he was the only man I had sex in that time frame. Because I didn't know nobody else.
Pregnant, and we had only been together for no more than a month. Trayvon be my child.
Mr. Lacey is not backing down, as he's asking the important questions. Khadijah Toure, on the other hand, does not have so much to say on the topic anymore.
Because DNA gonna tell you it's your child. We were just having sex.
Well, I get that. Unprotected, I guess.
Of
Yes,
course.
ma'am.
So,
Rubber in hand and peels another one. It just happened that way.
so how soon after that?
Judge Lake took it right out of all our mouths. What a case. Just right after the judge says everything we're thinking about Miss Toure.
Did you transition to pajama guy?
Yeah, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks.
About 2 or 3
I already
weeks?
had eyes on him, but I ran into Larry and I started talking to him.
Miss Toure, you was on team too much back then.
What?
You was on team too much back then.
I
You
was
had
team
eyes
too
on
much.
one.
We live in.
Finally, the spotlight leaves Ms. Toure and Mr. Lacey and gets on to place Trayvon Lacey as the center of our attention. He starts by letting us know that he has a few words for his mother, in particular.
Trayvon, I haven't heard from you yet. You've been very quiet listening to this testimony, and I know some of it's probably difficult, son. Do you have something you'd like to say to the court?
Yes, I want to start off by saying my mom, she was, an excellent mother. She raised 3 boys by herself, all at different ages.
In a wild turn, we get a crazy plot twist. Now, we don't know who to trust and whose words to take as truth. Turns out that Trayvon has 3 children of his own. He adds that he would love for his children to know who their grandfather is, saying that the same way he would want his father in his life, he would want him in his children's life as well. Finally, the results are out.
Mr. Lacey, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you. Now stand up. Give my son his respect. Give him his father. Give him his father. Hug your daddy.
Khadijah Toure had all that to say. Trayvon Lacey was totally emotional, happy, and saying that the DNA results were finally out. With Mr. Lacey, on the other hand, here's what he had to say.
How does it feel, Trayvon?
It's exhilarating. I want to thank you for bringing out these results, and hopefully that we can move forward with our lives.
I have nothing to say.
And I don't like it. And you know why he got robbed? Because of that chapter you left out.
You're right.
We're in paternity court, but some days it's maternity court too. Because it is both parents.
Imagine your boyfriend tells you when you're pregnant without using a test kit. And not just that, but he knows because he keeps a calendar of your monthly cycle. He then brings that to court as evidence for a case. This is the case between Ms. Coward and Mr. James at the paternity court today.
Yes. You were?
Yes.
How did you know?
Well, I have evidence that I keep on a calendar basically about her cycle. And from what I've done, so I know basically when I can and when I cannot, be intimate with her.
Oh, and you have that on a calendar?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, do you have that evidence with you?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What a guy. These two met in their apartment building, and after a bit of a drag, things started getting steamy pretty fast. Ms. Cowart got pregnant soon enough, and then Mr. James accused her of cheating on him. Back to Mr. James, the calendar keeper. He kept tabs on Ms. Cowart, but it got worse.
So for 16 years, you've been keeping track of
different women that I've slept with. Can't be too certain these days with somebody come in and tell you 16 years later you got a child, I got a calendar to say that I didn't have it.
Wow.
Sexual
so you
transmitted
have in your calendar the dates you were intimate with women
Yes, ma'am, I
and
do.
also a record of their...
Again, what a guy. He really knows how to get down and about. He went on to show the court various calendars spanning Ms. Cowart's monthly cycle, her menstruation dates, as well as the days he was intimate with her. This was how he linked the calendars to figure out that she was cheating on him. He felt like something was just not right, and he followed his gut.
Well,
You
not
noticed
only,
there were some issues?
yes, there's a lot of issues considering the first time that we went to the actual doctor, they gave her one due date. They gave her another one on another day. So there was 2 different due dates. Neither one of them coincide with the days when I actually was intimate with her, nor with that.
Ms. Cowart went on to accuse him of omitting some dates from his calendar to favor his accusations. He denied all her accusations. Mr. James claims to be a thorough man, saying that for a man that keeps a calendar, he would definitely remember if there was anything to be left out.
Flipper, you gotta add that in.
What's not more important than,
I'm just
sexual...
teasing you. So what happens during the pregnancy? Are you participating?
Well, once we found out she was pregnant, I already pretty much told her that I was going to take a DNA before I put my name on the birth certificate, because of the simple fact is I need a DNA.
Oh, okay, Mr. James. A grocery store visit is not very important, is it? However, keeping a calendar with the monthly cycles of all the women you are ever intimate with is completely okay. It's interesting to ask about how he got access to all of this information. Did he simply ask them, or he went around critically observing these women? What a guy.
You have to doubt.
Well, from the beginning, the way that the relationship started, she was in a relationship when the relationship started.
Okay.
And after a week of us being intimate, sneaking around, I started catching real strong feelings for her. I know that's kind of soon, but I also told her that I've been looking at her for a year. And I gave her the option. You either get rid of him or stay away from my house.
The way things are going, it would seem like Ms. Cowart is not an angel either. She claims that he met her as a woman in a relationship, so that means that she was not completely his, regardless of the fact that they were having unprotected intimacy. That has to be one of the most ridiculous things ever to be said.
I've caught her in lies. I done went through her phone.
He's just a very jealous person.
So you feel like since you were sleeping with her when she was in another relationship, it's very possible that she was sleeping with somebody else while she was in the relationship with you.
And still is, to this day.
To this day?
98% of his customers are females and women.
I mean, what man is not going to admit that he didn't know how to check his own air and his tires?
Looks like both parties are getting jealous. After Miss Cowart gave birth to her baby, Taj, Mr. James looked at him once, painted him as the spitting image of his mother, and he stated that his doubts about the baby's paternity began to increase. All this because the baby looked like his mom and not him. It appears that Mr. James needs someone to tell him that babies are made by 2 people, and it's not just the fathers. The verdict is out, and here are the results.
Mr. James, you are the father.
Thank you. I told you. Come on, you want to hurt?
Thank you.
I told you, babe. I love you. I love you.
I see the tears in your eyes, Mr. James. It feels good to know, right?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva believes men like him are free to sleep around with whatever woman they feel like, and he's serious about it. Ms. Reeves brought him to paternity court to prove that he is the biological father of 7-month-old baby legend. Ms. Reeves states that the paternity mess has really affected her life and relationships.
Explain to the court how this paternity doubt has affected your relationship.
Well, it's affected everything in my life. We've been on and off for about 3 years. Right now, every single time I turn around, it's always, oh, are you sure that he's my baby? Are you sure that he's my baby? Yes, I'm 100% sure.
That's true anyway. It's wild to imagine that question popping up at every corner. She added that Mr. Silva is a good guy, one statement that is super hard to believe, and that she'd prefer to continue their relationship without so many arguments. When Mr. Silva was asked why he has so many doubts, here is what Mufasa had to say.
I just don't trust her, Your Honor. I feel like she's tricking me into believing that I'm Legend's father. I grew up loving women, loving sex.
You grew up loving sex?
To me, I always felt like it was okay for men to go out, have sex, and, you know, cheat, come home to their family. And women can't go out, have sex, and, you know, come home, and especially with a baby, you know, trying to say that I'm his father.
Oh, what an utterly ridiculous and immature thing to say. Mrs. Reeves told the court that he basically says this because he wanted to cheat on her. So basically, his distrust stems from a want to project his own unfaithfulness onto her. What a guy. That's not all. He surprised the court with something even more ridiculous.
Not been faithful. You basically said in so many words that you believe it's okay for men to go outside of the relationship to cheat, but not okay for women to do the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
You aren't the only man that feels like that.
Well, Your Honor, I feel
Every
like,
man feels
you know,
like that.
God created men to conquer, to overrule, and women cannot empower. Women cannot empower men.
What are we on, Game of Thrones?
Well, okay, Dothraki warrior. He went on to add that he was uncomfortable with the way Ms. Reeves changed her phone password after he confronted her without proof for talking to her ex. All of this while Ms. Reeves' phone is blowing up with texts from various women about our boyfriend. Oh, the nerve from this man. After much ado, the verdict is out and results are ready.
Mr. Silva, you are the father. You are the father.
That's all I needed to know, Your Honor. Now, I'm sorry, and, you know, I did have my doubt with Legend, but I know that he's my son, and I would truly, fully love him. And I want us to move on in our relationship, because I love you.
I love you too.
That was beautiful. And she needed to hear that, and I hope you receive it, but also receive this.
Mr. Anderson is in paternity court with one prayer only. He hopes he isn't the father. Ms. Lima, the plaintiff, says Mr. Anderson is the father of her baby, Christina, and hopes the test today will make him acknowledge Christina as his baby and build a relationship with her. Their messy situation began like this.
Your Honor, it all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about a year and a half. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, you know, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not doing anything, so why not? We went out to dinner and we got a hotel room that night. We had sex.
Your Honor. Just one moment, ma'am.
He, you know, we was planning a trip to go on a trip.
Ms. Lima says she never knew that Mr. Anderson was married and treated him the way she would a normal boyfriend she was going out with. Incredibly, Mr. Anderson doesn't deny any of this at all.
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
I believe you are sorry.
Your Honor, it was a big mistake. And, you know, I really want my marriage and I want my marriage to work. But
and
it
I
started,
see your wife next to you and I feel her pain.
You know, me and my wife, we had a bad, you know, argument and I decided to go out.
Well, if it had only happened that night, Mr. Anderson wouldn't be in court with his wife today. Incredibly, Mr. Anderson says this is exactly what happened. He says it was just one night, and then she texted him months later that she was having his baby.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Was it strange to you that you only saw him on Saturdays and Sundays, or you thought he was working during the week?
Not really, because I went to his house numerous of times, but
you went, wait, excuse me. You went to his house numerous times.
Yes, I went to his house numerous of times, and I told her what was in her house, and I described it to her.
My God. Hold on.
Yeah, it looks like Mr. Anderson is going to be telling a lot of lies in court today. A few moments earlier, he was talking about how he had never seen Ms. Lima since that one time, and now he's taking her into his house? Really? That's low. Anyway, Mr. Anderson says Ms. Lima is just looking for a cash out from him.
Oh, hold on. Let me understand this. So you did sleep with another man during the window of conception during that time?
Correct.
And you were sleeping with both men without protection?
Correct.
So how did you finally get in touch with him?
Well, I got in touch with him like later, like we met up and we had sex again when I was around 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
No, Your Honor, that didn't happen. She disappeared. Your Honor, I haven't heard from her in months.
Of course, he met up with her. Anyway, let's see what Mrs. Anderson has to say about all of this.
The whole world it caved in. Like, are you serious? You know, this is my husband.
Because you all have built a lot together.
A business. We've been through a lot, Your Honor. And just the
children?
5. Come on, like.
At what point did you hear there was potentially a baby?
She told me it was a baby. I asked him. Clearly he lied to me.
That's right, Mrs. Anderson. And this already threatens to rip her marriage apart. She doesn't want to continue with the marriage.
Fine, because
my
of
marriage is past on the line. I can't. And then he's sitting up here. First he said it's one time, now it's numerous of times. You understand? I knew it when she told me what was in my house, that it was numerous of times. And he kept lying. It hurts really, really bad. It hurts really, really, really. No.
The only thing that has even a tiny chance of fixing this is finding out that Mr. Anderson isn't the real father of this baby. It belongs to another man named Mr. Scott. Of course, Scott is also in court today for his DNA test results. So, let's see what the DNA results say about that.
Mr. Scott, you are not her father.
Wow. If Mr. Scott isn't the father, then Mr. Anderson must be, except there's something Ms. Lima isn't telling us. There's only one way to find out.
Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
There can't be. Oh my God.
Plaintiffs lie, defendants lie, DNA does not lie. I could see the relief you felt. I felt the relief as well.
This was a paternity case like no other. With so much regret, Mr. Patrick appeared in court, claiming that a stranger whom he welcomed into his home out of the kindness of his heart ended up sleeping with his girlfriend. He now believes he is not the father of her twins. He opened his case by saying,
Mr. Patrick, you say 5 years ago you made a huge mistake by opening your doors to a stranger who needed a place to stay because that man betrayed you and slept with your girlfriend, Ms. Pence. Pence's fraternal twins.
We had wanted to purchase another home. We met the gentleman. We befriended him, let him move into our home. He offered to help pay the bills and stuff.
Mr. Patrick must have been a really welcoming man. The question ringing in everyone's head was about how a stranger he welcomed into his home ended up kicking it in bed with his girlfriend. In his story, he claimed that one evening the defendant, Ms. Pence, disappeared overnight.
Goes on, me and her sat around and had a few drinks, sitting at home enjoying ourselves. And she up and leaves and goes across the street to the neighbors. 10:30 runs around, no Miss Pence. 2, 3 o'clock comes around in the morning, still no Miss Pence. Well, she doesn't show up until the next day, about 10:30 in the morning.
Really?
And her hair's a wreck. You know, looked like she went through a hurricane or something.
She sneaked out to sleep with the stranger? Now, that's something you don't see every day. In trying to defend herself, she claimed that Mr. Patrick always accused her of sleeping with people, even though she knew for a fact that she hadn't slept with anyone.
I had never slept with anyone else before that night. I had constantly.
You're so flirtatious.
That's how I was brought up. I'm constantly calling people honey and babe.
What did I tell you?
I'm from the South. That's how I was raised. It has nothing to do with that. I never slept with anyone before that. Never. Constantly accused me of it, and I kept telling you, you're going to keep pushing, and it's going to happen.
Mr. Patrick might be on to something there. Maybe the sexual tension was getting too much for them to handle. Anyway, Ms. Penny was not going to deny that what she did was wrong, but she claimed that deep down in her heart, she wanted to make things right.
It seemed like you went out looking for him.
There was no specific reason as to why that guy. It was just someone at the time that was around, and it happened.
So in other words,
But he wasn't around. He had left the house.
He had, Your Honor. I was with my neighbor, like I had stated earlier. Me and her had went out. I did kind of look for him, I guess you could say a little. Me and him got together that night. We ended up having...
I mean, can she really blame him for thinking she's always cheating after what she did? She better cut him some slack. Judge Lauren then went on to ask her when she found out she was pregnant. Ms. Pence explained to the judge when she conceived her baby using this exhibit.
And then on August 7th is the date that the twins were born.
That don't mean that. That's a 5-day window.
It does. The doctor had said that the twins were conceived right around the 2nd of November, Your Honor. The twins were born almost completely full term. And if you count those dates back, it only leads to Mr. Patrick. There's
Mr.
no way
Patrick,
possible.
do you agree with those dates? They seem to add up.
No, Your Honor, I don't. I mean, it's a...
Oh, she thought she was smart. Was she trying to hide the date she slept with the stranger from the judge? Oh well. Aside from the fact that she cheated on him, Mr. Patrick told the judge that he had other reasons that made him doubt he was not the father of the child.
What are those doubts?
I think he's ADHD or something like that. You know what I mean? He doesn't listen. He's rambunctious.
He's a little boy.
I understand
Mr.
he's
Patrick.
a little boy, and I hope he grows out of it someday, but I believe he's ADHD or
There's
something.
nothing wrong with it.
And so...
Doesn't run in my family.
How do you
doesn't
know
run
that?
In our family.
How do you know that it doesn't
Well,
run in your family?
I've been with you for 10 years, honey.
It doesn't matter. You don't know every single thing about your family history.
I'm not going to fault Judge Lauren for asking a doctor to come to the courtroom. Mr. Patrick, for some reason, felt that one of the twins had a disorder that made him feel the child was not his. This was what the doctor had to say.
Point to one gene, sometimes it's multiple genes, and sometimes it's the way that the genes interact with the environment, and sometimes the genes have nothing to do with it, and it's just something that happened during the pregnancy or during the delivery or in that child's early childhood that can affect how they learn.
That's interesting because you're saying the gene could be a factor, but there's also the gene plus the environment. environment component.
Right. And sometimes it's just the environment, like with lead poisoning, for example.
From the doctor's explanation, it looks like Mr. Patrick might be wrong to claim that he is the father of just one of the twins. But one thing was certain. His doubts were affecting his relationship with Ms. Penny on a major level.
We've always had arguments over stuff.
Yes, but Your Honor,
Just
we
after all this
haven't even been had sex in probably the past 4 months. It's just a constant argument from the time that I get up until the time that I go to bed. Pretty much, it's constant argument
Concerning paternity issues?
Paternity and the one night stand, and him saying that it happened more than the one time, Your Honor.
And so that's why, Mr. Patrick, you asked this court.
You heard Mr. Patrick. If it happens that he isn't the father of the twins, he is dumping Ms. Pence's ass and leaving her with the kids. After so much talking had been done, Judge Lauren felt it was time to reveal the results of the lie detector test. This was how it played out.
Your Honor.
You were asked the following questions. During the last 10 years of your relationship with Mr. Patrick, have you had sexual contact with any other man other than the man whom you admitted to cheating with?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said no. The lie detector determined you were being deceptive.
How is that?
Ms. Pence, you were asked, did you have sexual intercourse with the man?
Oh, wow. Ms. Penny had more skeletons in her cupboard than she was willing to tell the courtroom. After hearing those results, Judge Lauren felt it was time to reveal the DNA results.
Mr. Patrick, you are the father.
I told you that you was the father. I told you.
Are you relieved, Mr. Patrick?
Oh, very much so. No, the deception stuff with the lie detector test, that's something that's going to have to be worked on, because that just right there shows me I may not be able to trust her again.
And see if anything Ms. Pence said was true at all. This was her verdict. Imagine being an amazing father to your little girl throughout her life for 3 years and having a woman take that away from you simply because she hates you. This was Scotty Rasmussen's thought before paternity court. The court case began like this.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you've been there for your daughter her entire life, and you're here today to prove you are Zaylee's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Rasmussen, why is Ms. Miller saying you're not Zaylee's father?
Your Honor, I believe it's just out of pure hatred. She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 160 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off.
What an interesting opening to the case. Mr. Rasmussen admitted that he cheated on Ms. Miller at the end of their relationship when things got rocked. Ms. Miller insisted that he cheated on her throughout the entire duration of their relationship. One could imagine that this is where the hate spoken of comes from.
Is it enough to buy her clothes so she doesn't have to wear cut-off sweatpants and the same t-shirt every time I pick her up?
I do that because I don't want...
Is it enough money to buy her underwear so you don't got to keep putting her in diapers at 4 years old?
I have underwear for her, and she is not in diapers. She is in pull-ups. She is in training right now. She is having problems.
She is.
But what he's saying, Miss Miller, is...
Well, that went south for Ms. Miller pretty fast. She goes on to insist that she does not exactly hate Mr. Rasmussen, but she wants him away from her daughter because she knows that she is not his. She goes on to explain further to the court.
You were intimate with someone else, and you believe that you were intimate with that other person during the time Zaylee was conceived, and Mr. Rasmussen was all the way in Las Vegas.
Yes, Your Honor.
But clearly, at some point, Mr. Rasmussen either thought or was informed that he was her biological father because he is paying child support. He's still driving 160 miles each way.
All of this points to the fact that Mr. Rasmussen is her biological father, or at least on a normal day in a place that is not paternity court, it does. His name is on the birth certificate too. Apparently, Ms. Miller only brought up the notion that he may not be Zaylee's biological father. Now here's what she had to say about the other possible father.
Not even quite sure. After we broke up, he changed his number, he moved, he pretty much disappeared. I have tried to find him, I have tried to get a hold of him, and I can't find him.
But you keep saying, Mr. Rasmussen cheated, he did this, he did that. And as wrong as that may be, you also slept with somebody else.
We weren't even dating then. I was single at that time, because he was with this.
So he basically wants nothing to do with her or even the thought of having a baby. And here she is, so intent on making sure that Mr. Rasmussen is not the biological father. Isn't that just something? Ms. Miller says that she does not feel bad about mentioning that her daughter is not Scotty's after such a long time.
You are insisting that Mr. Rasmussen is not the child's father, and yet you're receiving child support from Mr. Rasmussen. Have you petitioned the court to have Mr. Rasmussen taken off of child support?
I have told him a couple times that if he would just sign her over to me, that he wouldn't have to pay child support anymore.
I'm not going to do that.
Closing in on the results, Mr. Rasmussen states that if Zaylee is truly his, he will be overjoyed, and it would make him a very happy man to know that all of this drama is over. However, if she isn't, pregnant, he stated that there's no amount of time in the world to prepare him for such a bombshell.
I don't think I'd be able to prepare myself for just how devastating that would be to not only me, but my entire family.
Jerome, I think it's time for the results.
Okay.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows.
After much ado, it's time to hear the verdict. The results are out, and all parties get to hear their fate. This is one of the most dramatic reveals in Judge Lake's court. That's for sure.
Mr. Rasmus, you are not the father. Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve, considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve. You just showed me where your priorities were right there.
I'm sorry.
Because I held out hope that you weren't just acting a fool because you so mad at him.
In this situation, Ms. Davis has 4 potential baby daddies, and she doesn't even know their names. One of the potential fathers, Mr. Smith, has now been dragged to court by Ms. Davis to get tested. But Mr. Smith insists that he is not that baby's father. Here is how it all began.
I mean, Your Honor, as a child, I had a very bad childhood. I went through 13 different foster homes. I've been to 4 different group homes, and I didn't grow up knowing who my father was until I was 18 years old. And my son's only 2. I mean, it's not his fault that I decided to make, well, practically a hoe of myself.
This is so touching. Ms. Davis knows she has made mistakes in her life, and all she wants to do is correct them. However, Mr. Smith insists that he can never be on the path to correcting those mistakes.
All right, Mr. Smith, I just want to ask you, you did have a relationship with Ms. Davis. You acknowledge that, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so why are you doubtful that you potentially could be Javion's father?
Because she said I wasn't, Your Honor.
She told you you weren't.
Yes. I asked if I could be the father, and she told me no, Your Honor.
Ah, so Ms. Davis was the one who got the ball rolling. Well, she told Mr. Smith he was not the father, so she could not turn around and say he was now the father. That does not make any sense at all. But there are 3 other potential fathers. What is up with them?
I need you to walk me through that.
There are 4 potential fathers, and each of the individual men I actually met on a chat line within days upon each other. I made a calendar.
Okay. Jerome, let me have that evidence, please. Thank you. So this calendar shows that you were intimate with potential father number 1 on the 12th of November.
The calendar showed that Ms. Davis was intimate with 4 men, all in the same month around the time of her conception. She actually slept with Mr. Smith for an entire week and then left him. After that, she hooked up with another man, and then hooked up with a totally random stranger whose name she could not recall.
Potential father number 4, Your Honor.
You don't even remember his name. Do you know where he is?
No, Your Honor.
Having this experience that you voluntarily participated in, you're not feeling too good about yourself.
No, I mean, I know I made mistakes, Your Honor, but I don't consider my son a mistake.
Yeah, that is a good thing. Anyway, when Ms. Davis got pregnant, she tested her boyfriend and then the 3rd guy she slept with. The test told her that they were not her baby's father, which left her with Mr. Smith and the last potential father, whose name she did not know. But Ms. Davis does not even want Mr. Smith to be her child's father.
Honestly, I didn't want Mr. Smith to be my son's father.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, why?
He's a mama's boy. He still lives at home with his mama. He don't work. He's very immature. He's like a boy himself.
If I'm such a mama's boy, then why she got me here?
Well, I don't think you have much of a choice here, Mr. Smith. She has tested 2 other potential fathers, and since they are not the father, the chances of that father being you is extremely high. However, Mr. Smith has another reason, which is that he isn't this child's father.
But I still feel like he doesn't look like me or favor me whatsoever.
Have you met Javion?
Yes, I only met him once. I felt kind of scared, Your Honor, because I felt like he didn't know me, and I felt like a total stranger.
Your Honor, may I say something, please?
Yes.
Why doesn't he know you? If you've told me yourself, because you said you felt it in your heart that he might be yours, why didn't you step up then?
Yeah, I think we are going to go out on a limb here and say that Mr. Smith really does not have anything. Despite this, Ms. Davis says she is certain that Mr. Smith is the father of her baby, but she doesn't like it.
Very positive that Mr. Smith is the father, and with knowing that he is the father, to be put on my son's birth certificate as listed as his father, because it actually does mean a lot to me.
And what is that?
This is my son's birth certificate.
Jerome, hand me that. Who's on the birth certificate now? And no father listed.
No.
And you know what, Ms. Davis? You could be absolutely correct. Anyway, let's get the DNA test results and see where all of this is going. Will Mr. Smith be the father, or will Ms. Davis have to start searching for some long-lost fellow whose name she does not know?
Mr. Smith, you are not Javion's father.
I'm like so hurt, Your Honor.
You look crushed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I can see that in your eyes. So we've been through potential fathers 1, 2, and 3. And you said the last guy, number 4, you used protection. Are there more? There's no easy way to ask that question.